Welcome back, friends. It's time for game number 2. We have confirmed one team for Berlin, but Reject are in the line of fire, and they could make it themselves. But they're going to need to take the W today and our next Playday next week. This time, it's against Spear Gaming. Welcome back to the desk. I'm Melos the Medic. This is Ace and Fresh. And how about we talk about Reject first? Ace.
Let's do it. Let's talk about Reject. Reject are a team that I've really been enjoying recently. I've said they sort of seem like they're on a similar trajectory, a similar path to Damwon Kia, and I'm saying that because I'm enjoying them in the same way that I did Damwon Kia back in Stage 1 last year, and that is that they're enjoyable, they're entertaining, they're exciting, they're giving unexpected results. They don't always get everything right, but they feel like they're on a solid path at the minute.
Yeah, they do. They started out Stage 1 with basically a lot of losses, and we kind of said, what's going on at Reject? Do they have more substance about them? And then Stage 2, they've just kept coming. They've got more substance about them. They've got different ways of playing. They redefine meta on even... I've seen them do it on Clubhouse, right? Where Clubhouse is the age-old map where you can just do the same stuff. Reject are redefining stuff on that map, and that's why they're so exciting to watch.
They're a lot of fun.
They really are, and we came in with big surprises in Stage 1. Here they are now in Stage 2, doing so well that they could be the second team to make it through to the major. But standing against them are a team that have had many struggles, more than even expected. Spear Gaming. Can those issues finally kind of dematerialize today, Jack?
It's going to be a hard one, and I hate starting it off with a sigh, but they lost the best player. They lost the best player, and then their second best player in 11 is still out and sidelined. So they've scrambled together a team that was already in a relegation dogfight, unfortunately, for Spear Gaming. Now, I'm not saying NL or Sayora have come in and done a bad job. Obviously, they picked up Royboy as well. But it's a team that looked absolutely nothing like what T1 looked like last stage, because they were picking up points, they were being dangerous, and this team's come in and they've tried things, don't get me wrong, but more often than not, they're simply being outclassed by most opponents that they go up against.
I'm not going to say that they're a one-man team, because they're absolutely not. We know that they've got some good players. We know this, but we're not seeing it from them. That's the problem at the minute. If Mephi doesn't turn up, the other 4 are in the bottom 7, is what I will say. In terms of rating, for overall stats, APAC North Stage 2, they have 4 out of the bottom 7 players, and that is an issue. Numbers aren't everything, but in this case, it is telling a story, and that is when Mephi doesn't show up, are they in trouble? And even when he does, he doesn't have the support from... And they just need to find their identity. They just, like you say, it's not helping with 11 being out. That's absolutely true. And I sort of feel from it, it's a bit like, the stage has been burnt, really. It's just like waiting for 11 to come back, doing what you can.
It's like MIBR last year.
I do feel, I really do feel for Spear. I really do feel for Spear, and you feel like there is something better coming from them in future. Is it going to be right now? Honestly, I don't think it is.
It'll be a bit of a late bloomer at this point with this stage of the penultimate day. But let's take a look at our map. We got an explosive one, Skyscraper, at least to start off our day. Will we have something different? Yes, we will. Clubhouse is going to be banned out by Spear, and they'll take us to Bank, where they start off on defense. And Reject have picked up the attacking side. Is this an expected map from your side?
It is. So in terms of map ban preference, for Spear it's number 1. For Reject, it's like number 3 or number 4. But curiously enough, is both teams have pretty bad records on this map, to be brutally honest. If I look back at the past 3 times both teams have played it, there's only Reject that have actually won it. Spear lost this stage. They lost Stage 3 2021 twice when they were under the T1 organisation. And Reject lost it twice last stage and once this stage. Won it once last stage. Lost this stage and last stage. So realistically, it doesn't paint a pretty picture. And this was one of the maps specifically for Reject where I said it doesn't feel like they didn't have substance, because they kept... It was a game against Cyclops, and they just kept constantly sprinting at Cyclops that were just ready for them. So it's, in my mind, it's still a little bit of a question mark map for Reject.
Now, what could Spear do? Because you've been able to cast them so many times over this stage. Ace, do you feel that there's things that really pop out for them to use?
I think on Bank, you've got an opportunity. You've always got an opportunity to bring a bit of aggression and a bit of unpredictability. And honestly, I think that's the best thing. When we've seen teams struggle, like Spear have struggled, the best thing is to at least not walk in there with the other team knowing what you're going to do. If you're struggling to put down kills, if you're struggling to to get on top of teams and command rounds, you've at least not got to be predictable. So just get in there, go out of a few windows, just make life make them uncomfortable.
Or go in a few awkward windows.
Out a few, whatever you can, just make them uncomfortable.
Herky, shake it all about. But yeah, Bank's a great map from that point of view, is that every single site's got at least 2 ways of attacking it and 2 ways of defending it. Therefore, you can change things up. You're not stuck. We saw in the last map with Skyscraper how teams get shoehorned into the same defences. You don't have that on Bank.
All right, I'm very excited then to see how this goes. Will Reject claim the 3 points that they need to stay in the running for Berlin, or will it be a big surprise? Spear Gaming netting their first. I have to see. Thanks so much, gentlemen. The Sauce Stewart Casters. It's happening. Enjoy.
Thank you very much. And yes, I'm back, and this time joined by Hap.
That's me.
Hello, good morning. We're here now with Reject's last chance, last hurrah, last swing. We have one team confirmed.
Yep.
And only one other team can unconfirm Sandbox, and it's not even entirely in their hands, unfortunately for them. But it does start here. This is the bit that is, and it's versus Spear. And to be honest, if they can't take these points, then maybe it isn't the right time for Reject.
No, for sure. They need to pick up these points. It is expected of them. If you just look bare, like just purely at the current standing, Spear still at 0 points at the bottom of the table. Reject currently on 9 in 4th. But as you just said before, it is partially in their own hands, but most of it is not. If Sandbox is going to be able to get a win later tonight, it's going to be over. Both the teams will be locked in. But if they do manage to win now and Sandbox slip up, that's when they live the fight for that final day. So those are the stakes. And thus, Reject coming up with a bit of pressure against Spear. But at the same time, Spear looking for their very first points. Don't really have anything to lose. It might be a dangerous team to play against.
I really enjoy Bank.
I do too. No, definitely. It's a big open map. There's tons of opportunity for roaming. The bottom floor revolves a lot around the hatches. There's multiple drops you can see. You can either see the hatch drops for an execute. We see it from that server stack.
Window, is he?
What?
He's just rocking. He's doing like the crazy boy rock. And you have them like parallel. There's a little bit from Window there, but a moment ago, and I don't know if he was just sort of showing a bit of a representation there to Crazy Boy, who does rock when he plays.
Okay,
but can he roll?
That's the question. Can they roll? As they are coming up against each other now. Important matchup for both again. But yeah, I like Bank as a map because that's where we were. It's a fun map. There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of roaming possibilities. And you really need to make sure your flank watch is on point.
I think that's it. Is the big draw is that there's so much mobility potential. There's obviously the hatches, there's control, there's multiple ways to crack an egg. You don't just have yourself sort of driven and directed as a base blase into the site itself. You can be creative. You can bring new elements to it. It was a map that I enjoyed when it was in the pool before, a long, long time ago, when it was sort of the Latin America
It's kind of sad it was removed.
It was sort of sidelined for a while. But I think it has that wonderful capriciousness. It's that balance between a big open space and then teeny little fights in corners and corridors.
As you see right here with that hatch, some tight angles as well onto the bomb side, but just enough to stop any defender or attacker. There, that hatch is opened up. Now, Crazy Boy quite aggressive here. Crazy play. Here's someone repel. There, oh, that could be a free kill. There it is. The first one takes out Take. And with that, it is going to be the entry. And Spear trying to fall back instantly.
Very, very quick response there. They want to make sure that they're not going to get caught out. It's an early punishment. It's a game that you can only really play once or twice. You can see Windows trying to get a bit of revenge here, but to be fair, against anybody, putting that pace in, rejected that danger. Roy Boy suffers through the spray. They have the pings. The man's lying down and trying to army crawl himself through the hatch, which he gets. He's dropped. There is still a player around there. They might see if they can try and put a bit of a fight through. It's Crazy Boy, and he's going to see how long he can survive. Tucked him around the corner. Mephi gives him some support. It's an M870, so it can't be too much. He's not going to be able to really get a proper wide swing and help on the door itself if the pressure comes round from the little box walk-in, but it seems like it's a traditional top take now from Reject with one less player, the Buck, meaning a lot of this is going to be, well, thankfully done by the Sledge. At least you got him.
Yeah, and it's redundancy, right? You might have lost a couple of hot breach edges. No, it doesn't seem to be the case. Didn't bring those either. So you only really lost a player, some flashbangs, and of course, most importantly, a gun that's able to fire down upon your enemies. Luckily, though, hatches will still be opened up, and as you mentioned, verticality as well. So they just need to make do with one less person on the board. See if they can find an entry back somewhere, equalize that man count. Of course, Roy Boy is quite low. If you do manage to isolate him, I believe he's currently playing in that garage, you're going to be able to at least go for an even take.
There is just that cut player on the door of green. There we go. Salty might have the chance to try and roll a grenade down to the player as soon as he gets the scent of someone in that location, which could come here. The drone starts its way around a minute on. They've still got to put pressure onto the Jaeger here, and it starts by opening this hatch. If you can cut off their rotate, then you can at least guarantee an end to the fight. Whether it's in your favor or not, that depends how aggressive he's going to be with this M870 on the swing round potential window. Getting some of the hatches opened on the far side. They're preparing multiple avenues. That's the thing about this site, as mentioned before. The worry they have is they have a man disadvantage. If they're going for this multi-angled approach, sure, you might start to take away a 5 versus 4 and change it into a 2 versus 2 or 1 versus 2 and wherever, but you at least give yourself one even lead in. Here, though, with time ticking, 20 seconds now, and still a break and approach round onto the top of blue. The shotgun of the M870 still tucked at the bottom of the stairs. The kit needs to make a move. 15 seconds, no real pressure here. They're still burning and trying to find at least some safe ground. Tadaniki gets it, a trade out on the far side and some swung damage. Mephi, he's got an important fight to win here, but, well, maybe he won't have to. Caught out in the smoke, and Spear connect to the first.
I mean, there was fire, there was smoke, there was C4s blowing up all around. The player that dropped that hatch and instantly ran towards the side didn't live very long. Spear will win that first, indeed. It all started off with that shotgun onto the buck, and ever since they were a bit on the back foot, trying to figure out if there was still a roamer around and about. Not the case, of course, and after that they started opening up, using Hibana to get rid of those hatches, see if there's any other way in. Now, it's just the first round, but we do head up to the top floor now. And with that, there's going to be multiple possible setups. Something we do see quite often lately is not going to be brought now. It's the castle that gets brought. You create these long lines of sight that you hold from the secondary site onto, of course, the CEO office. Also look all the way over towards the top square. Now, I believe those holes are still being made, but just not with the castle being around. Maybe the Izami will play a bit of a function here. Close off some of these angles, maybe on that couch, to allow safe passage through the B-bomb site.
I'm curious to see what we get here from Reject, because they have been known to be a bit fearless, but they've also been swinging from a position where there's not the biggest expectations on them. Here, we're starting to get that shift, obviously. Still, throughout this split, they've been able to have a fantastic game and time and put a lot of pressure into teams. But against Spear, who were arguably in the same box, where you don't have the expectation of them to always get the win, but they often performed better amongst that.
Yeah.
Now is that test for Reject. Now is that real, true pressure moment that you don't really get too many firsts of, and this is that first one for Reject.
Now Reject on the attack again. Spots out some of that utility, not quite able to respond to it yet. I mean, it's a Yokai drone, they know it's there, but no one is in a position to destroy it, I believe. So also shields are coming down as well to provide some more security towards Tadaniki, at least a free look through that hallway without having to worry about a bullet hitting you right into the head. Reach is coming through as well at the very same time, so they're trying to put up some pace here on the side of Reject.
Yeah, very quick. They're doing it with the safety of the Oster. They have the swing round on anyone that might pop up behind the shield itself. They've got the breach. That's the important part. Now's the test to see if they can try and stress the back of that defense onto that slightly further away wall. But it's the Nook that could be that surprise factor. With Crazy Boy inside that elevator, if this goes untested, a grenade up through that hatch, which it looks like they might have toyed with for a second there, but have actually pulled themselves round. That could be huge. Just getting some safety underneath the site itself. There's focus, there's pings, there's drones, and there's attention, but how much of it is truly being paid? 2 hot drones as the lead in here for Take.
Yeah, he's trying to get these grenades in from below, of course, but he needs some spots onto the direct site. And That's what's missing currently. That's why I also didn't go for the elevator, because they don't seem to know that someone's out there. Of course, you could go for it. It is a very default spot to play, but you never really know. I believe that is one person in the open area. Finds the head of NL, though, and that is a great start.
There is, yeah, one in open that's going to have a quick response to that. They have the drones watching the rotation. They've got himself some escape, and that's the most important part. In, out, and can you now shake it all about? Because you got 40 seconds. The body down the staircase, that's a hot ping, and that's a retreat. They're not going to try and swing into that Roy Boy. They know there's 30 seconds, and Tadaniki is making things tricky on the site itself. Candy gets one more for the journey. Sayora has been able to move into Janitors and is going to buy himself a bit of a back, but with 20 seconds, the problem is getting him out and making sure they can get the kit down safely. Bit of a risky run through the site. The spray back through is going to keep him at bay. He's able to win out one. Royboy gets two of his own. Suddenly it's a 2 versus 2 window. A very important take. It's now just Royboy, but not for very long. Take lost on the board.
I was actually going to say they were in a good position to go for a plan behind the talent shield. The only worry, though, is Royboy, who went down below and decided to rotate back through blue, through the servers, actually came up that square stairs, managed to get a double kill at that very time. So no plan going through, still they're out for reject, though, because they had plenty of men left to deal with him as soon as that happened. And now, the staff room and open area coming up. They are continuing to rotate. They're not trying to go double down onto these sites after they've just lost it. This time the castle comes out. Of course, a must-pick operator for this site, you can almost say. Because otherwise, you're not going to be keeping these doors closed for very long. And yes, they are easily openable. You can use X-Skyrolls, you can use Zopia Impacts, you can use the Sledgehammer. But it needs to be done. It's just not a free line of sight. And more importantly, it will give the information towards the defenders, hey, pressure is coming from this direction. You might want to pay attention to it.
The thing about Castle in this site was they were hand in hand in their sort of return into the meta of, you know, Castle when he first came back in with his long extended plays that we've seen over the past 8 to 12 months is that idea of we can play ourselves with a little bit more stretch and space. We don't have to turtle, we don't have to lock in, which was the meta beforehand, and then open as well as a site offered itself really well to that, whereas on the turtle hold was horrible, was never picked, never played, really, apart from 1 or 2 sort of off-kilter strategies. It was easily the 4th site, whereas now the one that was quite turtled, which is the 2-story Tellers and Office, you just don't really see too much.
No, Tellers and Archives, I mean, basically the entire 2nd floor side is vertical. Above that, you can open up every single floor. There's no way you can be in that site safely. So that's why it's starting to fall off a little bit. And all these architects that are in siege right now, Mira, Castle, Azami, really allow you to redefine these sites and make them viable as they might have not been otherwise. That's what I really love about those operators. By the way, that's a drone Hex, I believe. One that was being tossed in the window. Take is trying to go for a bit of a aggressive first peek onto Sayora, but it's not really given any of it. That's the ponytail! The ponytail gave it away. Take was able to go for the swing there and finds that first kill.
It's a very smart hairstyle for certain things, but not there. The drone gets the reveal of the player. There's the hop out and the confirmation of information. Push the advantage of, well, we've got that intel. Are they going to run and hide in the box, or are they going to see if they can get themselves back in? Not that way. That's for dang sure, as Mephi goes slightly further and further away. He's sort of drawing them out, saying, come find me. And you can see Take is going around on one side. Candy's going to get them from the other. Will he be able to get one more before he's out the door? He finds the first fight and does some damage. Waits for the support, the spray through. And there it is. The 2-factor attacked her. And they're able to get that revenge, but it did waste about 30 seconds. That's the reason you go for that route, that run, that play all away here. Now they've got to focus themselves down towards the site itself. They're able to reclaim that body advantage, but can they try and take advantage of the pressure on the site?
It was a one-on-one trade as well, so that is something you need to keep in mind. There goes the wall, actually, perfectly timed, but Royboy is able to find Take before he gets traded out. A 2-on-3 situation still as Crazy Boy finds himself in a bit of trouble. Hops down the elevator hatch, knows that someone could have been on this main staircase here. Starts to creep up slowly but steadily, but he needs to head back towards the side at some point. It's only up to NL now, stuck in deep behind a reinforced wall, but he gets stunned out. They know exactly where he is right now. He needs to reposition, but he loses his life as a result.
Well, there's a little bit of a spray round. Crazy Boy's trying to bite his way back into the side. It's a 3 versus 1. They know where he is, and he's able to at least get the gift of 1. But the 2 remaining players with the kit themselves are trying to just find a route through onto the site. The consistent hot pings are going to cause some problems, and the spray through means they can't get the lock in. Crazy Boy He doesn't get enough to get the kill, but enough to just slow the plant here. Tadaniki has to move into a position. The LMG does what it does. And Reject just cinch out another plant situation.
See, this is where the LMGs come in absolutely huge as well. Win, though, in the meantime, by the way. Very happy about it. He's partying already. But, yeah, the LMG, I mean, you know that there's only one angle the player can come from. You know that your plant needs to go down. The clock is on 0. You have 150 bullets. You just hold that left mouse button.
It goes on.
You just make sure.
It's like a Goya canister popping. It's like you buy yourself 15 seconds.
Yeah, for sure.
On an angle.
And you're just waiting until it stops, but you kind of can't unless you run into the fire that is incoming from the LMG. And here, see that ponytail? That's what he saw. And that's not part of the hitbox, but the rest of the head is, and it will give you exactly the idea of where the rest is. It's like playing Maestro with like the giant headgear, the Spartan one. Beautiful jump out as well. Back to the bottom floor we go, Emmy. That was the only side that has been won by Spears so far.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, if you might have wondered, I really love these graphics, by the way. Shout out to Sprabuni and Raf. They always take care of this every single play day. They go
now
now
they're official.
Now it's official as well, so congratulations.
It's a wonderful partnership we've entered here.
Honestly. It's
welcome to the fold.
Welcome to the fold. 6% though for Reject if they win in regulation, but it can still turn to 0.
It can still happen.
It can still happen.
This is what needs to happen, is they need to get 4 points on this and on the next game, which is Cyclops. And then Sandbox need to lose their game today against Talon and their final Playday game against Damwon Kia. The last one is, you know, it's definitely possible. Damwon Kia are undefeated. But even if they win today, they then have to watch with everything crossed and hope that Talon can take out Sandbox, because I think if Sandbox just get to OT, I don't know if it entirely confirms it.
Let me check, because there's
a head-to-head to take into consideration.
Yeah, so there's 5 points in between. Reject and Sandbox. They have played, and Sandbox has the head-to-head, so a single point will be enough for Sandbox to qualify. So yeah, they need to hope that they don't on the side of Reject. Pick up all 6. Hope that Sandbox gets none. And that way they would make it to the major. It would be early for the lineup though, but it wouldn't be the first time we see a lineup that has recently entered make it big. Damwon Kia, one of them, of course. As the openings start to occur from above, both Sledge and Buck are making sure that some of these vertical positions on the first floor are going to be unplayable and force these roamers back towards the side if they would still be out there. Again, opening up just in case someone would be on those blue stairs. Just smacks open that little balustrade there on the side. Helps get a cleaner look through, but for now, nothing really happening. Royboy is just chilling out there with the MP5. It's not going to be the shotgun that they have to worry about this time. What they do need to worry about is this first floor hold, though. Open area is heavily contested. Sayora and Mephi both out there. And with the openings that Reject is currently putting on the board, they're not really going to be able to flush them out. They need to use grenades to eliminate these players. And as they do so, they actually drop through the hatches.
Reject, they're starting to get a little bit quicker, a little bit sharper, and a little bit more, I guess, controlling of the space itself, but then they find themselves slowing up to this point on the approach towards the fight, and that leaves things like this. Sayora, loose on a corner, tucked in. They think they have the clarity because they've spent 2 minutes getting the clear elsewhere, but now you've got to focus your way downwards, and Sayora, he's got himself in such a big position. Doesn't get the catch, though. They just push onto the site itself. The big reveal is unfortunately a little bit spent in the wrong place, and, well, now they've definitely got to move. Another missed timing there, the swing round, but Reject's able to find 2 on the back of it. The spray against it. Spear gets the kit down cold. A handful of seconds left. They've just got to tuck in. Sayora's come round on the back stairs. This should be an easy pickup, but he gets caught out. He's watched out on the far side. Take is now all that's left on this Reject side. Gets himself slipped around the corner. But finally, Spear able to lock it in. It should have been a little bit more locked than that, I think.
I was going to say, I think I can see 3 or 4 moments here where they just swap over to a gun, just swap over to a PC utility, and to see someone on Reject walking by. It would have been 3 kills for them at those moments in time, yet they still managed to get the diffuser down on Reject because they managed to slip by at those given times. So it could have been close, but Spear is going to be able to win this nonetheless. Pushing back up to first floor. Actually not going to CEO. If I'm quickly looking over to see if there's any changes in that lineup. Gasol, Melusi, no, same lineup on the defense.
They all had the Team Liquid background.
Maybe they like supporting Team Liquid.
No, that's fair enough.
Does Spear have their own? I don't think they have their own skin yet, so...
But neither do Reject have a card?
No, I don't think so either.
Sorry, you just noticed these things.
Yeah.
As soon as something draws your eye, you're like, oh, we're watching Team Liquid.
You cannot unsee anymore. It's not Team Liquid.
What?
Yes, it is Spear and Reject.
Okay.
And we're playing in APAC North currently, not Latam. Explains a lot, right?
That is.
But yeah, back to open area. We see a similar lineup coming out from the defense here. Nothing really changing. And they did just lose it, so there needs to be a difference in how they play it. Instead, if we look on the other side, though, we do see the Flores coming out. That is going to be a big change and could be quite crucial. Especially if they want to be attacking, let's say, that kitchen again. Open it up with the Flores. You can instantly fire down as well.
Mephi, once again, playing on the top boards, prepping himself some angles. He was a problem for a while here, and a problem that they actually only really sent one person to deal with. And I'm curious to see if they might try and opt to have a secondary bit of presence on the back. The pace from Take is going to come around on the top of square. They have somebody playing on the skylight as well, just to get a bit of a watch. At least they did the moment before. But, oh, there's a clever little bit.
Yeah, we saw that being shot on earlier on the windows and on that opening, so they need to go the long way around, but there's mute jammers down the hallway in Janitors, so it's going to be almost impossible for them to actually get that drone inside. They need to open up further with the Buck. And I mean, pings are coming out, but there's not much they can do. Gotta hope, though, Sierra doesn't get spotted out by the top of the ponytail again.
I think at this point, this is when you could look towards maybe Salty driving a Rotero around and smashing open the little bit of the low and hoping it doesn't get caught out by the Pest itself on the soft wall towards CEO and try and just widen some of this hole because Seora's tucked in. They have all the support they need. They're crouching this time, most importantly, so they can't just get picked off by the ponytail play. And Mephi, well, he's the one that would find himself isolated by this. It's these creative problems that Reject are trying to find the solution to, and now with a little bit of a separation here, the drop has come through, the longer angles towards Janitors. Okay, there's still a Mozzie on the top floor. How long can he stay tucked in here, and might he go uncontested as we saw on the previous round?
Almost 2 minutes wasted here because they just couldn't get their drones in properly. They weren't able to create the openings, and this allows Mephi to play with that timing. We saw it go wrong a little bit earlier, but if Reject is going to be unable to properly drone out their side, and I think they're not going to bother with it too much anymore, Mephi might be going unspotted here. He might be up for a big double or triple kill even.
And that's it. This is that sort of risky moment here. You can see they're actually a bit of width now. They could go for a clear just round and tucked onto the corner. He suffers a lot, Seora, and gets finally caught out by Take. And this is Mephi's signal to move as the drop's going to come through onto the site and the hatches itself. If he stops the play above the hatch and there's a kit there, it could be everything. It is currently on somebody on a drone. Oh. There's a cold kit. There's a spray and a player. And that could be the round. A single movement and moment. And Roy Boy adds a full stop towards it. The grenades are going to try and pull their way up. There's a plucky Mozzie. Should get caught out by the swing, but no! The triple is his. The spray window can try and kill as many people as he wants in the world, but without that kit...
We actually got him there. Shot through the ceiling, but a quad kill eventually coming through, I believe. I'm not quite sure, but... What a play that was. Mephi, I said it, like he's in a perfect position. So much time wasted because of that one little pest that was onside of that little hole made of the vertical of the line of sight, and then that mute jammer inside the janitor. It stopped these drones from moving in. They lost too much time. They didn't think, as you said, to move in a Retiro, open up that wall, and actually get a drone in to see if it's safe. And that is their own mistake. That is Reject's mistake that they have made here. They allowed Mephi to stay up there. They allowed Mephi to go through. Have some trigger discipline here. I love it when this happens. You don't just fire on the first opportunity. See if there's more to be gained and finds them both. And then even the one that's trying to go after him after.
I mean, it's that moment, really. It's the fact that the kit was with them as well. They were prepping for the hatch drop plant attempt. They were trying to get that bit of control. And once again, we have a player from Spear tucked into a corner, causing problems. at the worst possible moment. That was cleaner than I think the hold, even though they got both rounds. The lockers one I still think could have been a little bit more.
Yeah.
There's inopportune times, but missing the swing round when they had the big reveal, yada yada, things happen, whatever. There, he knows that they've got to come up to get him, and he knows if they've run up that way, they've then probably got to take the hatch to get down in time as well to try and structure a plant, tucked in on the opposite corner of stock. Bada bing, bada boom.
It was the right timing, right decisions, all made by Mephi there. Like, again, the trigger discipline, it is quite difficult to have because you want to get that kill, and if you don't get the kill, you get swung upon by the buck that steps out. You might look like a bit of a fool at that moment in time because you didn't take the shot you could. But if it works out, you look like the giant hero, which exactly he was at that moment. Quick openings being made, though. Candy hoping to find a defender out there. Some pings are coming through, as I believe magnets were being tossed out by Mephi out there. Yeah, exactly. Someone just go prone there, and he's thinking about maybe he can find an angle on him.
Yeah, they're looking to try and pull these bodies out of Banana. They want to get control of this swing round. Slightly different approach. Last time we had some damage done on the opposite side, and then obviously the Nook was able to get in and underneath from that window. It seems like they're being a little bit more verbal, a little bit more vocal about the approach from this side, where Take decides to pull their entrance. Could be a bit of a factor, as I said. They had the chance with the grenade, but now they don't have any chance with Candy. Mephi slaps them off the window.
An extra talent shield is being deployed here by Tadaniki just to have a bit of a free look. See if he can find anybody, see if he can get some information out for the rest of his team before they do go for, well, a men down execute. Salty's still out on a repel on the long side, though. I'm not quite sure what you will be finding with just 80 seconds left on the clock. You might want to join the rest of your team because, well, Spear Gaming, they also notice if they just stay patient, which is exactly what they're doing, going prone next to windows, using those yokai drones, they might win this one, but this grenade could change that.
Just a bit too wide. NL, they were caught with a headshot last time, and it seems like Roy Boy wants to try and find a response to the Nook, but they've already pulled themselves a bit round the corner. The calls come out, give his game away. A second grenade is going to try and just catch the other end of NL, and it does. Well put together, well played. A cost of 2 this time, rather than just finding the angle, but still 40 seconds. And you lost Josephia on the window itself. You've got to try and still put pressure onto the site because you're looking at pretty good control. Mephi, though, does get caught out, getting a bit of revenge in response. The pressure comes over onto Janitors. They're going to pick up the Talon Shield, get a little bit more width. Roy Boy gets Take. In the meantime, bites back, and well, now with Mephi still on the ground, they've got to see if they can try and get that security, keep this fight going. There it is, the take on the knee. Tadaniki's inside the site, going to see if they can just stick it as the rest of the engagements happen. 10 seconds, Crazy Boy's going to go for a pre-fire. They're off the kit, they're tucked around the corner. Window gets one, gets the drive through. They cannot quite get the full stick. 2 players left, one's an Echo, but it doesn't really matter. Spear 4 rounds.
Spear got 4 rounds, but a bit of too much aggression, I would have to say, from the Ossa there. Got that first kill, then wanted to go for an extra bit of a security, hoping to go for the kill themselves, but got taken out as a result. What they could have also done is just dig in behind the desk, use the Talon Shield, provide yourself some security, go for the plant, let the rest of your team do the cover. Now you lose that diffuser, you lose the opportunity of winning that round, and Spear is going to be able to upset here for this first half with a 4-2 scoreline. And Emmy, we said that they needed all 6 points on Reject's side.
If we hit OT,
it is over.
The dream is done.
With 6 more games to be played in APAC. Or 6.5 possibly even.
That's mad. This, I mean, yeah, this is half of a game left, essentially.
Still.
We're at the halfway mark in terms of
rounds.
Of rounds.
Well, unless we go to OT.
Of standard rounds.
Yes, the standard rounds, yes.
Standard play.
But yeah, it could be over very soon here if Spear Gaming keep this up. And, you know, everybody would have expected this to be a clear victory for Reject, but that's where it gets dangerous because Spear Gaming, they don't really have anything to lose.
Well,
they are preparing for the next stage. They're preparing to get out of relegations.
That's entirely it. This was, as I said at the start, it's rare to have this moment, which is an all pressure. Every game matters. Don't get me wrong. Every game matters until the games don't matter anymore. Every single opening 5 or 6 games in most of the leagues is still something that can keep you in the fight, and Reject fought them well, but this was this game matters. Take out every other game from the equation, this is the game that matters. Not just, again, for a tournament perspective, but it includes the weight of everything that you've worked on up to this point. And that is a pressure that is hard to replicate. It's a pressure that's hard to get elsewhere, even in those sort of weekend competitions. Sure, you might win the first day and lose the second, but you've costed a day. This is weeks and weeks and weeks up to this. And that is a pressure that it seems like is causing those couple of disconnects, those moments of reject where before they were so snappy and sharp on those plants, they're a little bit lost and adrift. Can they bite back on their defense? Well, they have no other option.
Kind of need to. You know what? If Spear Gaming is going to win this in regulation, they're just a single point away from being out of the relegation seat. So this game is super important for them. If they manage to pick a full 3 points, that's a massive W for them here. As Reject might see their hopes and dreams of taking a trip to Berlin and fight with teams all over the world slip away slightly, there's still hope. Spear Gaming on the attack now, not wasting any time. Smoke canisters coming in quite early. They've opened up the wall, they've opened up the windows, but they do need to take care of Window, who's playing inside a Janitor. On a bit of an unusual reinforcement strategy there, having the 2 middle ones reinforced and then the sides opened. But it will work because you can stop that plan behind the desk.
It's the Azami as well. I like the way they've got that little bit of an extension. It means that you're not entirely awash. And it means if they go for this swing, you can be a bit responsive to it, as they were. The impact, and suddenly Crazy Boy is going to have to throw the second down because otherwise he's isolated. Was he baiting the play? The camera there has all the intel. The Maestro bubble is just getting them angle, and that's why they've got that opening. Anything onto those windows, anything onto square is dangerous. That impact seems like it was a bit of a misnomer and a bit of play, unless that was a grenade from underneath. But either way, it's put a little bit of the pressure in the swing round. They've got hyper aggressive, and the kit's got a bit cold. They're going around into the Janitor's door. There's a fight over in Long Desk behind us, but now we're focused on the final remaining fight of Mephi. And it doesn't last very long. Reject find their first in a while. They're third for the round, and now it's only a difference of 1.
Only a difference of 1 indeed, and as it just happened, you know, the repellent from the Zofia came, actually just use an impact to get rid of the Azami barrier, make the position in Janitor a bit more easy to take, as that was always going to be the priority of the Zofia there. 4-on-3, you just said it. Single round differentiates these two teams currently. The Spear have definitely shown some good pace onto that attack. I think if we look back at it, Reject struggled more with time than we saw Spear struggle with time. There's a bit of a odd setup near the Janitor, which worked out wonders for them. They managed to get quite some good kills and actually stop the Ossa from moving in as Ossa would have liked to, because they wanted to go for that plant, but because of the angle, it was either you're going to be exposed towards the B-bomb side or you're going to be exposed towards Janitor. So that was basically out of question.
Reject, it's a bit of confidence, and confidence is something they need everything for. Candy and Salty, only 1 kill each, and usually names that get a little bit more, especially Salty, who was always one of those big lead-ins, especially on their attacks. He was a consistent sort of big problem in the Thorn, and the opening half of this game was just a problem for him. Here, if he can start to build a little mantle, a little selection of kills and start throwing himself into these engagements a bit more confidently, well, who's more confident at throwing themselves into things than the man who runs through walls? Gives you that mobility, that momentum, that sort of chance at subverting the expectation of what can be a very long clear on this map.
It definitely can be. Mephi doesn't know how close he is to some of the other people that were on the other side of that quad wall. Decides to just continue moving into the archives, gets a ping but loses his life. That's Window with the very first. A good entry here for Reject.
Held the angle as the drone came around the corner. There was a yellow ping, but it doesn't matter. If you're locked into a pixel on a door for a swing, prepared for it. The pressure is still starting to try and find its way up from underneath. They're hoping they can catch a rotate round towards the pressure onto the top of the stair set. It's the most common way for teams to try and subvert an attack and an approach onto the quad wall. So have a preparation for it. Maybe you'll get a little bit lucky. At this point, you might need it. You're a body down. You've lost your buck. You've lost your destruction of that soft outside of some longer work from potentially a Flores. But either way, you've still got a lot left to do, especially with the stack up, the support and the structure of taking this quad.
Reinforcing it off here, knowing that they're not going to be holding on to it much longer. Taking care of the hatches as well. You might be wondering why. This may be because they are afraid of a grenade coming from below, as Kenny is playing there with those evil eyes, so doesn't want to be taken care of from below. Make sure that they're safe. So Retiro coming through will not be getting anything, luckily, because it decided to detonate as soon as window got on. That was definitely headed towards that Banshee and towards the wall, the castle barricade.
I was going to say, that's the big play here right now. There's so much structure in front of them. They've got to try and get this wall open as well, give themselves some pressure they can apply onto the back of the site, cut off any movements, any bits of momentum. A minute gives them some time, but the time's got to come to something. The Echo drone went a little bit adventurous there, just to see who's out there, buy themselves some more time. And Window, well, he got a bit too adventurous, has his head taken off. He sort of suffered the punishment that he lay on the previous way round. If just one of these impacts is able to stop the exothermic, that's the big risk, because they've got them stacked up and breach. It's Take, it's Salty and Sayora across the board. Take, I talked about this rotation before. He's able to make it work. That is now an unthermitable wall, so Crazy Boy's going to have to see if he can try and lead in with the swing. They've got the other player watching the back in. He's tucked in the corner, doesn't get very far. Neither does the second. Reject pull themselves level.
That breach was never really going to work, Ami, because they used an EMP, then they wanted to place it down, so it was always going to be impacted as soon as it did start detonating. But hey, that is 4-4. We have equalized that score, and Reject are able to bounce back onto their defense here. And I believe we have a technical timeout being called. Voice chat issue inside Reject.
Oh, you need that.
You need the voice.
You do.
That's for sure. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult communicating with each other.
It adds challenges.
It definitely adds challenges, yes.
Doesn't remove any.
No, I think it adds quite a bunch of challenges. Mm-hmm. Makes the most basics of things quite difficult if you suddenly don't have the ability to speak anymore. And there's a 4-4 is where we stand. And Reject, they started strong here onto their defense. We have to say that. They managed to bounce back sort of twice because quick ground is being made by Spear. We cannot deny them that. They're able to open up important parts of the map quickly. They're able to get a breach down onto the site quickly. But after that, they stall. They're outside of the objective. Like, when are we going to push? They don't really hold any of the lines of sight going towards their backs. And thus flanks happen time and time again. That's what they're struggling with right now on the side of Spear Gaming. They need to stop these flanks from happening late round. You just saw two, actually, at the quad wall, able to just take down 3 players in just a matter of seconds. That's stuff that you do not want to happen.
The stakes have not changed for Spear Gaming outside of precious points for the year-long fight. Avoiding relegation, their stakes have always sort of been the same. They're less immediate, but you're always playing to those points. Reject, theirs is this game. This game or nada, nothing. And even then, even then
it's not
Sandbox
certain.
just needs 6 rounds today.
That's it, 6 rounds, either today or next week.
It's tougher next week.
It's definitely going to be tougher next week.
Against the unbeaten Damwon Kia.
However, Damwon Kia, they're good. They're confirmed. they don't need to.
It's like a motivational poster. Damwon Kia.
They're good.
They're good.
but it's like Damwon Kia is already confirmed, so they don't have to play on their 200% anymore. They can just give a cheeky 95. See how far they can go whilst they're preparing for the major and packing food, apparently, according to Rin. So
Milos loves that food story. I swear
it is quite funny because it's like a full pallet coming in with them.
He's like, tell me about. It's like, that like. It's like, tell me about the numbers. Tell me about the noodles. What were those boxes in the corridor I saw?
What do the boxes mean?
What do the boxes mean? Loves that question.
Apparently, Western food does not mix well with Asian food, as they say.
Well, when you travel, they say the thing that messes you up is jet lag and the diet.
Yes,
it's the 2 things. So, being able to at least counter that.
Would that be why Damwon Kia is always performing so well on the major? Because they keep their diet the same.
I mean,
are we onto something?
I'm not a dietitian.
I'm not either.
I'm not a physician.
We do cast though. And we are in the middle of a round. And we are in the middle of a game, which is a very important round here because Reject has the opportunity to take the lead and with that, complete a full side rotation. But Salty gets picked up. Roy Boy able to figure out what was going on. Heard that Bailiff, decided to go for a full spray with the L85 and finds the Auric. So there's no more hedge jumping for the side of Reject this round.
A very early pickup there, a very gifted pickup as well. Spear, they've been missing that little bit of sharpness on this approach. Reject. they were starting to get a bit of confidence. They were starting to find themselves a little bit more in their element, rotating and roaming around the map itself. It is something that Bank offers, but here, early pick, a 5 versus 4. That, when you're looking at a potential sort of hatch drop worst case scenario, having a trade is so important. Having a second body is the difference in a lot of scenarios. And we've seen them try and sort of drive fights here where there's been a 4 versus 5 in the sort of other swing round, where the defenders have it. Reject, they almost took it on their attack. Spear just locked it out on their defense. Can Reject try and, I guess, right wrongs from before?
The big question. Trade comes out, though. Tadaniki finds Mephi, was instantly followed up upon by Sayora. However, none of the Fama shots were able to connect. Tadaniki playing close with that shotgun is not already an angle you want to peek. He's going to be able to finally find the Twitch drone there after 2 pumps. They do know that Twitch is close around the corner because the post below, of course, not going to be nitro sellable. They have to wait for one of those hatches to be opened up before they can toss one out. But with him rotating around, and it seems like the plan's rotating around towards the server area as well, that C4 might still be of very big impact.
I think that's it as well. You're looking at a big awareness. Pulse, he is such a big facet for any team that's holding on to this, but this is probably the traditional role. Tucked in on gold, waiting for any intel of a chance at a plant. You just swing round, you can feed that to the rest of the team. When you're playing alongside this idea of smoke canisters, you have 2 more C4s, or 3 more C4s, across the board too, in the pockets of other players that can swing. A man with glasses that can see through anything. They are built for this specific plant and a hold. You can see Candy is pinging it. You can see Windows able to take the fight anyway. Another canister onto a cold kit. Round on the backside. Windows got it locked in. They're waiting for a drop on a hatch here close by. There goes the pulse. And now, wow, they've actually been able to find the kit. They drove themselves a little bit deeper. Who else but Crazy Boy is able to get a play like that together with a single hatch and a bit of plucky luck? They pull themselves through, but now it's a retake. 2 stories, one over the top of square. One was making their way up the staircase itself. Tadaniki wins out against Crazy Boy. That's the control of the site. Sayora fights back. Keeps it as a 2 versus 2. Just misses the slip of that remaining player. Window is going to take the drop in the hatch, get the isolation. Now it's the 2 versus 1. Do they know where the last player is? No, he's over the hatch. It's Royboy who's had a screamer of a game. Just has to time a drop onto a hatch. Baits the first, wins the second, and it is a Spear Gaming round.
Didn't even have to go for the final headshot there, but you saw him actually, he wanted to move as soon as the clock hit 7, but then they went off that defuse. It's like, oh, I don't need to go back on anymore because there's no time. I can always go in as soon as that clock goes below 7, and there will be no way for them anymore to still try and go for that defuse. And now a tactical timeout called by Reject. So they are slowly getting behind now, and that is not, well, they need to make sure that they're able to bring it back, because if they lose this round, Emmy, that's it. Berlin done.
Dun, dun, dun.
Cue the dramatic music.
Cue the dramatic lighting in the studio. Cue the dramatic music.
Play the thunderstorm.
Play the thunderstorm sounds.
Sad violin music. All of that.
Well, no, sad violin. Put that on hold.
Okay, that's when it's over. That's
the.
Did Salty just smack his desk? I'm not quite sure. All right, well. Either way, it could be a fist bump. This round,
real aggressive fist bump.
all deciding.
That's what I do when I get frustrated. I'm not punching my desk. I'm fist bumping my desk.
Fist bump that desk. Take a book out, a page out of Rogue's book. You know, it's they do it to the camera. You do it to the desk. Up to the top floor we go. For what is potentially the final round that truly matters for Berlin that gets played today. And it could still be the next one as well. And it could be the one after that. So these next 3 rounds could be all decisive. If Reject is not winning all 3 now, in a row, it's over. It's as simple as that. If Spear just get 1, then the next matches don't really matter anymore. For Berlin, that is, there's always more to play for, don't worry. I mean, you always have the relegations you want to avoid. That is something what Spear is currently trying to do. And they might pick up some very important points here. I believe we'll put them on 12 total, just 1 behind Fnatic, and a couple over Fav, who both still have to play.
They do. Do you know who they're playing?
Tell me.
each other in the next game.
Surprise! So they could definitely make some good points here today because one of their opponents is not maybe going to get any.
That's it. And, I mean, it's always that best case scenario is you kind of want both to struggle. You want
just let it go to OT, you know? So.
Yeah, just a cheeky OT. But here, they need that to not happen to them. Reject. Once again, a bit of a change of pace and place. They've got themselves in a slightly different approach. The grenade underneath doesn't get to anybody. Nobody is playing that close to the wire. It does reveal some of these Aruni gates, but at the same time, nobody tucked in that situation. Reject, they have themselves in a similar hold as to before. The Azami, the play, and what was a big bit of control from Janitors.
Some U-Jammer, unfortunately, for that drone. Is not going to be able to find anything. Grenade tossed in from below. There's no player there, but might actually get rid of the U-Jammer that they would like to use to start opening up and to start putting down some pressure onto the direct side. Spear, they want to go for a plant. That's always been their goal. Opening being made onto Janitor here. Kind of like that, but I'm not quite sure if it goes off because it seems like there is a U-Jammer there. It has been destroyed in the meantime. So Shield will also live for now, so maybe we see a cheeky impact to be tossed around the corner by Candy.
Well, I think that's the difference now. You can see that Spear actually have the players on the window ready and waiting to offer that support. Crazy Boy is prepped and isn't trying to do all the work himself. Last time he was very isolated when he first got the drop and didn't expect them to get the drop on him so aggressively. There it is, though. Sayura finds the first fight from the width, is able to tuck themselves a bit closer in window. They're still holding onto the angle, waiting to just see a sliver, but they're quite clever with their angles here. Spear, they're holding, they're at bay, and they're waiting for now some of the pressure to come elsewhere. They've done the structural work to allow themselves potentially a group on and a lead in. Take is the next to suffer, most importantly, not entirely downed or out. It's the pressure here, Mephi.
It's a shame they used both grenades and getting rid of that Mu-Jammer. If they would have used it in Janitor, there has been or could have been an opportunity to go for a plant now because Crazy Boy, still stuck behind his talent shield, wants to get in, but is always going to be exposing himself to one of the angles, either towards the B-Bomb chassis or towards Janitor. And you see it now as well. There is that Evil Eye, so he needs to dig in quite deeply. He's going to do so right next to the actual Azami barrier, and it seems like Spear Gaming has the upper hand.
Wow, that Bubble was able to do a couple of zaps. He's been able to pick the kit back up, and now suddenly, look, it's a 4 versus 1. Tadaniki, well, he's not even all that's left. Spear Gaming sit on map point. And Reject, unfortunately, sit on a season where they now no longer can get to the Berlin Major.
Cue the sad violin music, or the happy one, because Sandbox just qualified for Berlin as well at this moment in time. They didn't even need to play for it today. Of course, they are still going to get on later. But yeah, Spear now fighting for a victory, and Reject will know this as well. Probably will be quite upset with the fact that they couldn't do what they needed to do to continue that fight onto the next Playday, potentially. And that emotion might give Spear Gaming the upper hand in these next 2 rounds, because they have been doing well. We cannot say anything. Spear has looked the best they have looked over this entire stage so far.
They do this a lot. If you go back to any of the previous seasons when they were T1, when they were whoever, their wins, their results come in the final 3 Playdays every single time. Pretty much. They have this habit of, whether it's the pressures at the end, whether they've just started to get themselves a bit of momentum, they have gone through roster changes. Their best performances are always at the end of a season. It doesn't make for a solid season, but it makes for one where they're at least
it's a bit of a thrill at
ruining dreams.
That's their motto. Just ruin other people's dreams. We don't want to go to the major, so we're going to stop other people going for the major too.
They got another Korean team confirmed for the major.
It's either just trying to help out there. Either way. Their most important task now will be to grab these 3 points, because that will massively help them in the overall standings. Yes, they'll go up to, I believe, 7th place as well if they do that, but that's not really that interesting. Currently, Fav is sitting 1 point ahead of them on the overall scoreboard. That has been equalized now. If they manage to get 2 more, there will be 2 above Fav, 1 behind Fnatic, and guess what? 3 behind Reject.
And Fav and Spear play each other in the last Playday.
Yes, they do. And that might mean that we're getting ourselves in Stage 3, a 4-way battle for relegation, which is not one you want to be in, but it's still going to be spicy.
Wow, now here, can Spear just get that final push over the line if they want to have any hope of not being the bottom team on the board. That starts with at least guaranteeing all the points here from what they've been able to build. Reject, it's unfortunate. They've got this far, and this is where it ends close to, but it's progress on the last time. Next time, who knows what the limit can be? Only they can. And here, it's going to be seeing if they can at least try and wrap their heads around the disappointment and try and confirm some points out of this engagement either way. Mephi has some pressure here. They're looking for that split push towards the doors of open and the pressure onto Beepers.
Quick drone work being done here. Meantime, Mephi trying to sneak in as the Nuke find an early entry, and that is going to be a Yokai drone picked up. Knows he has been spotted though, but will find a very important piece of utility. So it's not really a 1-for-1 trade, but it's definitely going to be helping Spear out in this late round, especially if they want to go for a late round push.
I talked about this before. Salty has the potential of this map, but that's Oryx. It's sort of not limitless potential, but there is always a lot that he can do, and here, well, he's got to do it at his own pace because it's 45 seconds. Suddenly all the time has slipped away from Spear Gaming. The grenade is going to roll out underneath, but Windows pulled himself over to the opposite side. They've got this relocked. They did this last time as well, around the 1.5-minute mark. At that point, close it. You know you're going to be a big fight, and you may as well give them less option to work with 20 seconds. They've got to find a breeze through. Salty's gifted a man from the heavens, heads to the top, and instantly gets slapped back down. Went quite aggressive there and hoped to be able to catch somebody else here. 15 seconds. Spear, they're looking for an execute onto a single hatch. All the pings come through. Window just has to watch and wait and do that. Devastate. Finds one. Tadaniki gets a lockdown on all three, actually. It's just the man round the corner. Mephi finds at least one. But Take is that final end. 6-5. They might still find OT.
Overtime is what they are fighting for now. One more round and they'll reach it. And one more round and Spear might see 3 points evaporate into thin air. Because they have been a better team so far today. That's for sure. And they choose to go to the executive launch. That is Reject, of course, on their defense. A site that has been well fought by both these teams. I believe it went either side once so far. So looking to break that tie now. As of course the last time around, it was eventually the Janitor player that died. It was eventually the player in the B-bomb site that did fall as well. That left them with little opportunity to actually stop that plant from happening. Just looking over. Someone to set up. Castle again coming out. So it's the Surya Laser Gates and the Iruni. So they're really trying to stop this push from going through. I really like this Janitor setup though. The 2 walls reinforced in the middle, the big opening made towards the side that is right next to the desk, with these angles created by Salty and the Deagle as well, which allow you to challenge the windows outside, will allow you to stop any repel in from the outside, and at the same time stops anybody from planting right behind the desk. Now, of course, the Izami barrier does give a bit of safety, but it's easily destroyed, of course, with a bit of an explosive, for example. And especially the amount of grenades that have been tossed in by the attack themselves and the availability of impacts for the defense team, it shouldn't be too big of an issue.
Okay, Reject. Just one more trip here to see if you can try and lock it in. Tadaniki, 17-6, has been a big driving factor, but obviously Window as well. And I think that's the thing is missing Salty, missing Candy, 2 big gunners, usually 2 big players in that Reject engine that's gotten them to this point, has been a bit of a blow today. When, yeah, okay, you're not really having huge step-ups from everybody on the side of Spear, but the fact that they're stepping up, especially obviously Royboy and Mephi, it's that sort of difference. It's those couple of kills really cost the ends of rounds. How many of them have been 2 versus 1s, 1 versus 1s in the dying throws?
You know, it's even more funny if you look at the statistics. Tadaniki has only had a single triple kill throughout this entire matchup. Not a quad kill, not an ace. So 1 triple kill, the rest has all been 1 or 2 Ks. And that shows how effective he has been for his team, basically having an impact every single time, allowing them to fight back. Unfortunately, not allowing them to fight for Berlin anymore, but still for a victory.
There's the take on the camera, just on the outside. They've been pretty solid with their gathering of intel here, and the SAM cams are going to be the potential response from the side of Crazy Boy. Royboy is the one picking up the mantle of the Ossa this time round, seeing if they can try and get a little bit more, I guess, lockdown, because to be honest, the plan before hasn't really worked. Oh, Tadaneki takes the head on the face off Sayora as the pressure comes around onto Banana. Mephi's able to get one through the smoke. There's still a lot of Reject players on the opposite side, hoping they swing themselves wider and wider around. You can hear the deployment of the shield and the pop. That hatch is soft. There's nowhere that player can go. So they tuck themselves in for some safety. Do they know somebody's there? Well, NL is able to find Candy. Tadaneki, he's looking for everything to try and get a catch onto the Ossa that just keeps pushing the swing around. Salty, he's gone maybe uncontested. Window and Crazy Boy, one apiece. There's one more for Crazy Boy, propped on the windows. Not very far. 3 points for the first time. Speed Gaming.
3 very deserved points as well, and with this they already knocked out Reject off their fight of potentially going to Brilliant earlier, but you see how much it means to them, congratulating one another, because this is huge in their continuation for their story towards 2023. I know it's only the end of stage 2 that we're starting to approach here, but the relegation fight is something you cannot get behind in, and with this they've taken a massive step forward. They've put themselves up into 7th place, just a single point behind Fnatic, who are currently in 6th, so they're starting to get back on track.
It became a little bit too much for Reject. They have been on the up and up, and I know they're going to keep on that, but this is not their time, their ticket to the ball in Berlin. It will have to wait. How long? Probably sooner than I think a lot of people expected. We'll take a quick break before we're back with the desk to break that down.